Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I've just bought this new mixed media pad, and what I wanted to do was compare it to my old one. So those of you that have watched me before will know that I've been using this one for a while. It's the Gerstaecker one, if that's how you pronounce it, that I bought on Great Art a little while back. And I filled it up, so I needed another one, and I nearly bought the same one again because I really like this paper, but I did think it'd be good to try a different make just to compare. So it'll take me a few weeks to compare them because obviously I want to try it in all the different media the same as I did with this one and see how we go on. So in theory they should be very similar because they're both 250 grams in weight, they're both A4, they're both mixed media, and they're both acid free. And actually they're a similar, pretty similar white as well. They're both a very bright, nice, brilliant white. So this one's now full up, and like I said, we've used it with all sorts. We've used it with the Inktense, watercolour and ink. What else have we used it with? Brusho, and we've used it with charcoal, wax, all sorts of different things over the last few weeks we've done in here. And that's another Brusho one. Okay, and the charcoal there. So yeah, so we've used it with all sorts of different things. So we'll do the same with this one and see how they compare. So I'll pop that out of the way. So to begin with today, I've just done a very quick drawing using the Faber Castell Pitt pen, and I think it was not sure what size it was, fine one I think. I've done this Highland Cow. So I'm just seeing to see if you can see that, so just move it along and pop some Inktense there, and I'm hoping you can more or less see that still. So Highland Cows, the problem with them is you can't see their eyes because of all that hair they've got, so to get some character it's quite difficult and make your picture interesting when you can't see an animal's eye. So I thought what I would do is do it with Inktense and make it some funky colours, a bit brighter than it would perhaps naturally be. So that's what I'm going to do for you now. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So I'm basically just going to keep adding the Inktense, layering the colours up on top of each other. And the great thing about these Inktense is once they're dry, the permanent, they're fast there, so you can add extra layers on top without disturbing any layers below, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so thank you for joining me, and I'll do a lot more in this pad over the coming weeks. We'll do Inktense this time, so maybe next time it'll either be watercolour or Brusho, and we'll see how we go on in comparison to the other pad. Although that was just a very quick demonstration, it just gave us an idea of how the paper is going to react to plenty of paint and water. You'll see I use plenty of water, lots of pigments layered on top of each other. Now, when I used the hairdryer just to dry it the last time, it did curl up a little bit, but I haven't got a clip at either end like I would normally. So other than that, it stayed pretty flat with that clip there. I'll just take that off now. So one thing I really wanted to show you with these Inktense I've perhaps not mentioned before when using them is about the white. So this bled a little bit, it was a bit wet, the sky was a bit wet when I did the horn, so I thought, well, I'll perhaps use the white and put a little some little clouds on. So can you see how if you looked when I was doing the video, it went on and you could hardly see it, but as it dries it becomes more white and more opaque. So if you layered it up and put a few extra layers of white on, you could get that even whiter than it is there. So it is quite handy just to have a white that you can put on top. So that's one way it really differs from the watercolour. So other than that, you can see how it works really well layering it up wet on dry and wet in wet. So I've used lots of colours, probably a lot more colours than I would normally use. I use nearly all the sort of yellows and reds and a few of the different greens, and just use some of the darker reds and pinks to get some form into him by pretending there was some shadow there. So, you know, not fantastic, but it's quite a pleasing little picture. To me, the Inktense, they are a very inky look once they're dried, so they can tend to look a little bit flat, which is why I use them mixed with other things, and why I quite often use them by picking them up and drawing with them as well to get a bit more life into the painting. But I think using them with the drawing there already is quite a good way as well. So you'll see here where there's 2 or 3 layers of colour on, how some of those black lines from my initial drawing are starting to disappear. So if you did put a lot of paint on and kept layering it up, you would eventually lose some of those lines. But as it is, I think it's quite nice that you've still got that form of those lines, and then you can put the colour on top. So yeah, so for the first go in this new book, I think that's it's worked very well with the Inktense. Like I say, it's a nice thick paper. You can tell there by the sound of that, it's a lovely thick paper, and if I'd had it pinned down at both sides it would have been absolutely fine. So very nice. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, thank you for joining me, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye for now.